Their disrespect is manifest every day. In fact, your government's disrespect for you constitutes the whole context of your life in America, in the West, but especially in America. They think so badly of you that they don't really even hide it anymore. And this is definitely true across the entire collective West. Europe doesn't care about Europeans, the UK doesn't care about the British, Canada doesn't care about Canadians, and America sure doesn't care about Americans. There isn't a single Western government that demonstrates that it cares one bit about their people. But every single one of those governments fears their people. And that's probably the only reason why things aren't worse for you already than they are. If they thought that they could get away with it, if they thought that they could get away with treating you with the same brutality and the same violence that they used against the people of the global South, well, they would do it in a heartbeat. If they weren't afraid, then every mass shooting in America would be a police shooting. Every police shooting would be a massacre. I'm telling you, they would gas the homeless if they thought they could get away with it. It's not their morals that prevents them from doing that kind of thing. We know it's not their morals because they act that savagely everywhere else. Why you think police brutality is a problem now in America? If they could, believe me, they would have drone strikes every day in so-called minority communities. We know that they would do that because that's what they do to all the other people around the world who look like you, so-called minorities in other countries. They have no moral opposition to mass killing. They have no moral opposition to wanton violence and brutal repression. That's what they do everywhere. And they would do it to you in a heartbeat if they could. If you don't think that that's true, then you're seriously deluding yourself, and you actually need to get ready for this, because the conditions of colonized countries are going to materialize in the West in the not too distant future. Mark my words. Well, how are they going to do that if they fear you? Because listen, when they fear someone or fear something, they don't just sit around biting their fingernails. The powerful don't have the power that they have because they're complacent and because they're passive. That's one thing that you have to give them. You have to give to the ruling class credit where credit is due, the institutions of power. They're proactive when it comes to threats to their position. And they've been working, like I said, to address the threat that's posed by their populations, the threat that you pose. They haven't been just hiding their heads in the sand hoping that the danger will pass. No, they have been actively, aggressively, and relentlessly doing everything necessary to neutralize you. And the more they neutralize you, the more viciously they can deal with you. The more sidelined and the more marginalized that the population becomes, the easier it will be to take the glove off of that iron fist. See, overseas, they get the iron fist directly, but back home, they put a glove on. They use nice, warm, expensive bottled water when they waterboard you in the West. They don't use ice cold water from a hose like they do in the global South. They use fancy mineral water to waterboard you. But that's going to change. Please understand me. This is what people in the West need to understand. Your system is parasitic. It's predatory, and they prey on whoever they can by any means they can. Neoliberal capitalist subjugation is a crime of opportunity, and America is the land of opportunity. That phrase is more true now than it ever has been, just not the way that you've always understood it. Your own system is going to prey upon you now. I mean, it always has to one degree or another, of course, but now it's going to ravage you just like it ravaged the global South for all these years.